Style takes too long. I can't fit anything. I have nothing in this closet. Oh, I'll just stay home. I need to purge my closet. Oh, but not that dress. Yo, Taylor here. If you ever thought to say one of these phrases, then this show is for you. Join me at the Style Table, where we'll have candid and fun conversations about real women's style issues and wardrobe dilemmas. We will discuss solutions and ideas that will give you a big sigh of relief. You'll learn ways to save money, make money, and enrich the lives of others with the clothes in your closet. We're going to take the stress out of your style. Hey everybody, it's Yo Taylor back here at the Style Table. I'm here with the powerful Angel Riley. She is a senior manager of political affairs. She is in the corporate arena, the political arena, all the arenas that are in the news always, but right now, big time. So we're going to talk to her about how she shows up. What's her signature style? What's her style? And what's her style advice for people out there trying to raise money for their campaigns and what people are looking for? So, Angel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Yo, I'm so excited to be here and honored for the invitation.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm honored to have you. Let's tell us exactly what your position, what you do, and so we can kind of get some understanding.
Absolutely. So I'm senior manager of political affairs for a health technology company. So basically what I do is I manage our political action committee. I oversee all of our grassroots programs. And when you look at political action committees and from a corporate standpoint, we are heavily regulated. So I oversee all of our compliance in terms of campaign finance, as well as lobby and disclosure as part of the government affairs team. And in anything political, anything that impact our company. So whether there's a race that's critical, where one of our large facilities is located, scheduling site visits for the local, state, federal, and local elected officials to come visit our facilities, have town hall meetings with our employees and so forth. So anything in that political affairs spectrum, I oversee it at the company I work for.
Wow. So you have to wear multiple hats, multiple hats. So you're talking about the corporate hat, the political hat, the government hat, and just the dealing with the employees, employee relations as it relates to politics, corporate, all of that in one. That must be tricky. Yeah. So when you complicated, but you're an expert, so you're a pro at this. This is your jam. So you know how to navigate those waters like this. Yeah. So let's talk about when you show up. How do you think about your style when you walk in the door to different? Say, for instance, you're doing a town hall meeting where you have the employees, the political person who's trying to raise money, and you're also representing the company.
Now, I think that's a fabulous question. And a lot of people, when you talk about political action committees, that makes me a fundraiser first and foremost. I have to talk to employees who are eligible to be solicited for the PAC. Again, that's how that compliance interact with my daily interactions. And you're asking people to give their non-tax deductible voluntary contribution out of their paycheck to something that, you're having to persuade them and really communicate why this is important for us, why we're looking at what's best for the company or the association. I've been doing this, I think this is year 23 or 24 for me in doing this, that you're really having to convey to why it's important. So how I look matters. If you're going to pull out your personal credit card, if you're going to pull out your checkbook, if you're going to give me the information for your employee identification data so you're able to contribute to the PAC, you want to look at someone who is trustworthy. So when you look into the marketing space, it's the low, know, like, and trust factor. When you show up, you're looking at that same thing. So what am I wearing? So like today I had a on screen. So I just threw on just a little camisole that was easy to throw a blazer on. So we are a business casual organization for our corporation. The executives are asked to stand up when presenting online because it just shows more of a, warm, feel. So I work for a health technology company. It's also a European health technology company. We're foreign owned. So this is my first time working for a foreign owned company. And I see a lot of differences from some of us US companies. And that is one. So I'm totally okay showing my arms with this. This is like a silk fabric and it was fine, because I can stand up, look presentable. It's V-neck because I always want to wear stuff that's flattering to my frame. So as a busty sister asking for money, you want to make sure that you are covering up as much as possible, but still making sure that you have that your own sense of style, your own flair. So I do a lot of the V-necks because that slims me in. I can put on a jacket, and then I look at the length of my bottom. And so I am 5'6", which is normally tall for a woman. I love the high heels. The high heels are my thing. Like I would do a 4-inch. And one time when I was younger, I would do 5-inch heels to work, so I'm probably questioned about that. But there's just something about having that whole look where you want to look like you can be trustworthy. You don't want to look like that you're about to go and have the time of your life at the nightclub afterwards. So I always try to make sure that if I'm wearing a skirt, that it's knee length and that it's, again, flattering to what my hips are. It's not too tight. It's not too loose. That I think of the Marilyn Monroe look. And then with my shoes, because I know they're high, I try to gauge how long I'm going to be standing up. How long am I going to be engaging with people? Because again, we're talking about the comfort of your shoe wear. That talks a lot about how you're going to interact with someone. So when we talk about that style, it's just figure flattering, making sure you're comfortable in all elements. And then I'll go ahead and I'll even say it. You'll want your undergarments to be really, really good too.
That's critical, right?
Yes.
That is so critical.
Yeah.
Because you don't want, while you're doing your presentation, you don't want to even have that concern in the back of your mind, like, ooh, is something lumped up back here? Is it not smooth? And you don't want to be thinking about that, especially if you're doing a town hall. You need comfortable shoes. You want to look good, but you need shoes so you can run around and talk. And if you're a part of the panel where you're interviewing or they're asking you questions, you might want to get up and stand up if you're doing the town hall in person. But standing up on Zoom, wow.
Yeah.
Because so those of you out there wearing your yoga pants, you might want to think twice.
Yeah. Like with me, so I totally have my exercise pants on below this. So when I stand up, I make sure that I adjust my camera angle to where you're only seeing waist up. And so you could do the yoga pants, you could do all of that on camera. Just make sure that you do a test that you're only seeing waist up.
Right, because you don't want any faux pas.
No.
You don't want any virtual faux pas. I've heard some horror stories. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So at least if you're going to wear sweats or yoga pants, make sure they're cute and they're on and you're together.
Yeah.
From the bottom half down. I do like the V-neck on you. You have a beautiful neck, and your skin color is amazing. So you really know how to accentuate the positive, and and you're comfortable and you feel powerful in it, and that's what's most important.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you talked about the skin. So I have just a very light foundation on. So you also want to look at your makeup. You don't want that to be too heavy. You want enough for your pictures to look pretty. When you're in a virtual environment, you want your skin to look flawless. This make this foundation I have on. I got it out of like a beauty supply store. It was like $4, and it's really, really lightweight. I put it on with the blender, but it evens my skin out. And so again, like you said, and I'm so thankful that you noticed it, it's like very little. I have a nude color lip gloss on. And so again, you could do that pop of color, but it's not always appropriate for your audience. And so just in this element, I say know what's appropriate for your audience, because you are under a lot more scrutiny than you may think. You're asking for money. You're talking about politics. Those are two things you can have a heated debate about. So the last thing you want to add into that mix is, did you see her makeup? Did you see those huge lashes she had on?
Right. And because it's a health technology corporation, you also have to consider your audience too, because they're going to be, I'm assuming, a little less flash.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They want to see that you know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of
and they don't want to be distracted by your lashes that are like 10 inches long.
Correct. I mean, and they're engineers, they're scientists. Prior to coming to this industry, I spent a decade in defense and aerospace industry where I worked with actual rocket scientists, so it is not a lot of that. They want someone that is very charismatic, and again, that they can relate to, because, sometimes your style, when you're over the top, is pretty to look at on TV. But when you're doing that one-on-one interaction and building relationships, if you're dealing with some folks who are introverts, sometimes that's intimidating to them. So I'm not saying to just be boring, because you're not. You don't want to be boring. You want to show up as yourself. So I may have a plain suit on that's fit nice. I can't buy suits straight off the rack. I have to get them tailored, especially in the jacket. So the fit will be nice. But again, in this environment where we're more business casual, if I put on a blazer, I've been a little bit better because I leave the blazers open. So I haven't been having to pinch them in as much. But my fun element is my shoes. And so I can have a really boring suit on, but I might have like a zebra print shoe. And that's also a conversation starter. So my heel is likely high. And then it's like a funky design or a funky color, something to pop. So even those who are shy, they feel like they have something that they can easily come and spark conversation with me.
And, I always say less is more, because you can always add. And if you walk into a place and you have on less and you've added, you feel like, oh, maybe I've added too much. You can always take some things off. Mm-hmm. So you can feel like you're more appropriate for your audience, who you're speaking to, who you're addressing, and who's in the meeting. Yeah. Because you will intimidate, or people just like, oh, she just cares about how she looks. She's not serious. Yeah.
And especially when you work for these large, in my situation, I spent a decade with the defense and aerospace, and I'm in health technology. I'm not always in the corporate office. Sometimes I'm into our manufacturing facilities. So even the dress code there is a little different. So when you come in as corporate, you're already considered that you make the big bucks, and you come in and, a lot of times, especially with what I do, I'm talking politics at work. A lot of times the employees don't want to hear what I have to say, because they think that here's this corporate person coming in and really trying to talk down to me. When that's definitely not the case. So that's another thing that I talk about with style and working in a corporate environment is know your audience. And so I don't always go in with a suit jacket on if I'm in a manufacturing facility. I may go in with just, a dress. I love dresses. That's just my style. So I have a dress for everything. I know. Yeah. So I'll go in with like a dress. If I know I'm going to do a tour of the facility, I want to look at what the rules are, because, when you're on the different plant floors, you can't wear heels. You have to wear closed-toe shoes. So really doing that research. So just definitely in this field is know your audience and make sure that you show up appropriate, because you always want to be approachable and memorable.
Yeah, approachable is very important, because like you said, if you walk into that environment Yeah, they're thinking, oh, she's going to talk down. She thinks she's above us, and oh, she's so glamorous and fashionable. She thinks we're peons. So they're going to feel a certain way. You need to look like, hey, I'm just here to talk to you, especially when you're talking, like you said, politics and non-tax deductible money out of folks' pockets. That's real. That's a real conversation. So you definitely want to look like, hey, how y'all doing? Let's talk about what we can do with your money.
Exactly. And a lot of us like designer things. I like the designer clothes as well. I'm a really good shopper, so I know how to get not everyone knows that it's last season or 3 seasons ago. It still look good on me.
Nobody knows that.
Exactly.
Nobody knows
exactly.
Nobody knows that. That's what I said. Listen, and y'all right now, if you're watching the show right at this moment, Nordstrom's is having their anniversary sale. Go out there and get those discounts on, like she said, if there's a pair of boots you've been eyeing or a pair of shoes or something that's a big ticket item, now's the time to get those items for these sales.
And
I'm all about that.
Yeah, and I shop out of season. So like you're saying, you shop out of season. So this is the time to get the winter clothes. And then in winter is the time to get your spring and summer clothes, so I can get the fashionable stuff. But again, it's knowing your audience. So I'm not a label person. I don't really like the designs that have all the logos on it. But, you could be really subtle and you can have, retail price $500 pants on, but if you're a good shopper like me, you might have discounted that thing down to like $50.
We have to go shopping together because literally you do exactly what I preach. Nobody's going to stop you and go, oh yeah, those were last year's. Nobody knows, nobody cares. All they're looking is, did you put it together where you look good and you feel good and you walk in like, boom, I look good. Yeah. That's what people pay attention to. Nobody's doing all that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now I'm sure, well, who knows? It depends, if you're somewhere trying to be in the front row of the major fashion show. Yeah, they're going to look and care, but most of us.
Yeah. And a lot of times, I worked for trade associations for a long time as political director at trade associations, doing the same thing. And when, so you would be with the spouses, the wives of the CEOs and stuff, just making relationships. I got a golf tournament or something going on for them. So I'd have made my money, they out golfing. So I'm like, oh, I can also solicit the wives, based on campaign finance law. So let me get something going for them. Sometimes in those situations, you want to show up really, really high end because that's that audience. So again, knowing your audience and how you're catering to them. But then to be honest, a lot of really wealthy people do not spend that much money on like what we see on these reality shows. It's not true reality for what I call long-term wealth. So they want like the discussion. That's how I learned about, stacking coupons for the clothing, shopping out of season. It was from being with these wives, and they're talking about the deals they had, the trips that they're doing to the outlet malls. I mean, these women are worth millions, millions, and billions for one. The one who had the best secrets was worth billions, and it was just one of those things where just know your audience. And that's so important in politics. Know your audience.
Yeah, that's super important because you want to get the job done, but you also want to feel good about what you're doing. Yeah. And when you connect with people, because you're approachable, that you can come back. You can come back again and know that you're going to walk back into that room and they're going to welcome you and they're not going to look at you like, oh, here she comes, like the used car salesman,
Exactly. It goes back to, how I started the like, know, and trust factor. When, in my career field, people want to like you. They want to feel like they know you and they want to trust you. So your style all shows up with that. You are relating to them. You're able to show your personality. I remember I used to be, my earrings, and there you go, on camera, live, your earring come on out. But I still look good,
Listen, I'm sitting here like, I'm like, woo, Listen, I'm at that age. It just happens.
It's okay. It's storming outside. So I'm like, we're not going to lose power. But, it is just definitely one of those things of going to that like, know, and trust factor. So showing up, being your authentic self, that this was a perfect thing, a perfect scenario, because this happened to me on Zoom meetings or virtual meetings and in person where, my watch might unclasp and fall. And I'm like, oh, in the middle. But it's just something, again, for folks to relate to you. And in my opinion, your style says a lot. So for me, it's the funky shoes. It's the fit of the outfit. It's the color pairing. I ever since I was a young child, I would be all in the magazines and see how you paired certain colors together. And, with my beautiful melanin, I'm like, what looks good on this chocolate skin? All of that matters. And the more that, I take pride into how I look, that just, again, continues to open up to other people to come and ask me questions, down to my hair. Oh, I'm going to do these colors in here. If I'm going to do the braids, what does that look like? If I'm going to pin it up in a bun, all of that all comes into your style. It's about being genuinely and uniquely you, but most importantly, as I've stated so many times in this interview, relatable, because people want to feel like they like you, they know you, and they trust you. And that's the element in marketing, but it's also the element in politics. It's not always about positions on issues.
Right. They just need to know that they can trust you, that what you're saying to them and what you're asking of them is going to be something that's genuine, and because you have to be able to come back.
Yeah.
So you have to establish that trust, and walking in confident, like you look good, but also being approachable.
Yeah.
So that's the rule of thumb. That's the thing from this conversation, like you said, being relatable, approachable, and trustworthy. So we're gonna finish on that note. But since we're talking about donations, a big political season, how can people get in contact with you?
No, absolutely. So I am on LinkedIn. That's the best place to connect with me professionally. And that's Angel Riley, MPA. So Angel L. Riley, MPA. I'm all over LinkedIn. So come on over to LinkedIn and connect with me professionally. And then you'll find out all the other things that I do in my free time when I actually have it.
And you guys know where you can reach me. I'm Yo Taylor at the Style Table. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook at the Style Table LLC. And you can see Angel and many other fabulous, powerful, stylish women on At the Style Table LLC on YouTube. Please subscribe. See you next time. Bye.